Good morning. You're watching The Market right here on 80 Now with me, Aisha Faridi. I've got Sajid Mankad and Shrishti Sharma as well joining in, and it just continues to be just such a flat market. And I don't think the setup indicates, or the global setup indicates, that it's going to be any different anytime soon.
It's going to be like that, and there is a consolidation phase which is happening. I think we spoke about the fact that there is downward pressure on the Nifty, and that's what we saw yesterday as well. Nifty just above the 25,000 marks, and if you go by some of the technical charts, they're looking at it can even go to 24,900. So there is a long pressure building up on Nifty, and a strong resistance which is coming up at 25,100 and 200 levels.
It's like one of the market participants yesterday we were chatting with on closing trades said that it's like, Ajit, the famous villain Ajit, he's like, this market is like his dialogue, which is, what liquid nitrogen? No, he said liquid nitrogen में डुबा दो, liquid इसे जीने नहीं देगा, nitrogen इसे मरने नहीं देगा.
और liquid तो आ ही नहीं रहा है ना यहाँ पर.
No, so liquid according to him was the domestic flows, which will not let the market correct, but there is nothing which will take it out of nitrogen also. So yeah, that was very aptly described.
Oxygen.
Liquid oxygen, not nitrogen. Yes, I stand corrected.
But
but you got the hint.
Yes,
that's what
is happening.
And even check the India, Aisha, that which direction markets are going to. That's still perplexing.
But it's going to be sideways movement for some time now. At least till the end of the month when we get some data from the GSE, and once that happens, like Rajiv was mentioning with JP Morgan, that means एक trigger चाहिए for foreign funds to come in. वो fast moving data अगर वो उनको मिल जाता है तो वो means you look at some of the the card bills
indicators.
High frequency indicators, card data for day one, and they were talking about tenfold jump in card payments happening on the 22nd, which is a good sign in that sense that people are buying. But वो sustainable होना चाहिए. वो that's what he's also indicating that, and if we are able to get a sustained high frequency data, then we are not going to the funds are not going to wait for the earnings to go up. They will come before that.
And it was the similar picture, nothing different really, when FIIs were sellers yesterday once again to the tune of about 2,400 crore rupees, and DIIs once again were buyers to the tune of 1,200 odd crores. And I mean, look at the delivery value in some of these private banking names or large caps, for instance, Axis Bank, HDFC Bank, ICICI Bank, SBI, Kotak, etc. They were in the negative, and it's the Adani group of names which also saw very, very high delivery, or continue to see so is the case, that also the OI build-up saw a dip of about almost 11% coming in. But Sajid, the other part is, and you cover this very, very carefully, the kind of IPOs that you're seeing in the market, somewhere they're also sucking down liquidity, right? So, I mean, what would find its way into the secondary market is actually going into the primary.
That is true. If you speak to any of the foreign fund managers, they're saying that there's no dearth of foreign investment coming in. It's only that in the secondary market we are not seeing it. It's picking up all the new funds or new IPOs or new paper which is coming through a block deal. Now, even yesterday, if you look at AkzoNobel block deal, you had the Goldman Sachs of the world coming and picking up everything. So the new paper has been picked up, especially for AkzoNobel. It was coming at a discount to the open offer price, so they are getting at a lower price there. So that's also something significant, that they are willing to pick up the paper at a lower price, even if there's enough on there isn't much on the table there. So the new paper is coming in, and that is the momentum which is absent from the market. The momentum which is holding onto the market is the domestic flows, but the momentum which needs to push the market ahead is the foreign flows, which is not coming in, and that's what is happening. So look, this week has been heavy on IPOs, and we've been doing a lot of IPOs of late, and it's almost 2 or 3 IPOs opening on a daily basis, which is happening.
And all of them are finding such good subscriptions.
Yes. Yesterday I was looking at Atlanta, 70 times subscribed. These are small IPOs, but niche from different sectors, and that's the play which is coming in. Foreign Indian IPO market has been the most active IPO market in the last 12 months globally, and the only place where you see a new paper coming in is India now, and and that's why you're having a lot of. So if you look at the aggregate numbers of of foreign investors, we'll put that number out. It will give you an idea of how much of money is coming into primary insurances, which is there.
Yeah, so I don't think this, data is really the correct picture.
It gives you the secondary market
yeah,
data.
this is just the secondary market data. What the real picture, we got to zoom out and see how much money is actually finding its way into the IPO markets. But fortunately, what the market is right now seeing is that some of the underperforming sectors are coming to the fore. While, a large part of the banking story was led by leadership names like ICICI Bank, HDFC Bank, now you're seeing the PSBs as well emerge as winners. And they have somewhat begun the move, I think, from the latter part of last week. And
That's
now
true.
there is decisive news flow to back those moves.
No, not like decisive, but there is a realization of re-rating of the PSUs.
Yeah.
That's what we are seeing. In September alone, I think the Nifty PSU index was up over 10%, while the Nifty Private Bank Index was up only 3%. So the outperformance which we have seen in PSBs is basically giving a push or moving towards a re-rating of the of the PSU banks there. Now there are a couple of things which are happening. One, over the last 5 years, the value of PSU banks have gone up by nearly 5 times, which is incredible. The way of the way the entire banking has been cleaned for NPAs and other bad assets. So the NPAs are almost at low. The credit quality is much better or at comparable to the private sector. The return on assets have increased to nearly 1%. Now they are still at a discount to the private bank, because private banks have a return on assets of 1.7 to 1.8. So you're still getting them at a cheap valuation, but the credit quality is much better, the credit growth is much better, and they're much and they have been able to raise money from the market. If you look at last 3-4 months, we've seen a lot of banks coming, including SBI, coming and raising funds from the market. So sitting on a lot of dry powder to go out and give credit out. So they are at a much better position as compared to private banks as we speak. Because we have seen. IndusInd having trouble. We had Kotak, which has come back after some troubles there, and ICICI Bank is the only one. HDFC Bank has kept itself muted because they have a big issue with respect to how much lending they can do. So within the private bank, you have only ICICI Bank which is standing out, and maybe Kotak to some extent. But in the PSU bank, you have the SBIs and of the world which are standing out, and that's something there. And yesterday, like we were talking, Prakash was mentioning that in the Manthan which happened in Delhi. The government is looking to increase the FPI cap from 20 to 26%. Now, one can argue that there is already a buffer there, but the problem, or the good thing is that a lot of index funds have already are capping there, capping at the 20% level because the weightages has been capped at 20% level. If that weightage goes from 20 to 26%, then the index funds will have to buy. And in that case, you're going to see somewhere around $600-700 million of flows coming into banks, with SBI leading the pack, because SBI itself will see a flow of roughly around $450-460 million. So that's that re-rating of PSB is now in play here, and that's the reason why we are seeing the outperformance.
Oh yeah, absolutely. A lot of triggers at play. The government is likely to raise limit from the current 20%. That is what we at ET Now are picking up, that perhaps PSU Bank's FI ownership is going to increase. And that, of course, is going to be another key trigger point as to why that entire segment is going to do well. But yeah, wondering what the FNO setup is looking like. Are we at least going to nudge higher than the band that we've been stuck in for so long?
Oh, indeed, Aisha, to what Kunal was alluding to, that Chak De India moment. But let's understand from Sajid. Sajid, how is the FNO picture looking like? Because just in the past 2 days, we have seen Nifty correcting a bit, but still holding on to that level of 25,000. Are there been any changes with respect to the FII positioning or the DII setup?
It's interesting that we are, if you look at the FI numbers there, but before that the Nifty levels, we've managed to go about 25,050 and close about that level. We dipped below to roughly around 25 25,027 or so, and then came back there. So there is a support which is coming in at 25,050 odd, but that support is not good enough. In a selling pressure, we will see that Nifty go below 25,000, and that's going to happen. Unlike in the past where you used to have a strong support coming in at the 25,000 level, this time the support is not that great. It does not looking great at all. So there is a gap to the upward movement, and there is a downward risk of Nifty going below 25,000, which is there. And if you look at the options data, because that gives you a good idea of where the Nifty is going to do that, is between 25,000 to 25,100. So it's a narrow range which we are looking at with a downward risk which is there. So that's something there to worry about actually.
Okay, let's move on and let's talk about what the market setup for the day is looking like. More importantly, what the global commentary and handover has been overnight. Snehi joins in from the global desk to give us a color on the same.